MGX Minerals is revolutionizing the new energy economy with patented lithium extraction technology, replacing traditional solar evaporation using low-cost, low-energy nanofiltration. The first system of this paradigm shift technology is currently being commissioned. MGX Minerals trades on the CSE, symbol XMG, the OTCQB, symbol MGXMF, and Frankfurt, symbol 1MG. For more information, visit our website, mgxminerals.com.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Mike Mish Shedlock, editor of Mish's Global Economic Trend Analysis on maven.net/MishTalk. Welcome back to the show, Mike.
Pleasure to be back on.
What is the official U.S. policy on the value of their dollar?
Well, we have a conflicting opinion there, don't we? The Treasury Secretary said that a weak dollar is in the best interest of the United States. Meanwhile, the Commerce Secretary says, well, he really didn't mean to say that. We actually still have a strong dollar policy. And the amusing part of it was he said the Treasury Secretary didn't say what he said he said. So I found that all quite amusing. Meanwhile, the dollar has been declining steadily here now for quite some time. After hitting 100, the index hit 103. It's now down to 90. It's quite possible we get a bounce here, Tom. Sentiment, towards the euro and against the dollar is perhaps reached a peak phase here.
Well, President Trump has even said he wants a strong dollar. He just tweeted that.
Yeah, but he's also said that he's wanted a weak dollar. So which is it? So he frequently speaks out of both sides of his mouth, each saying the same thing, each saying a different thing. Quite often on the same day. In this particular case, apparently there is a little bit of lag between his support for a strong dollar, support for a weak dollar, but he said many times the dollar is too high.
What's your outlook on the housing market for the U.S.?
That's a good question. The housing market, I think, will probably be okay, as long as the stock market is okay. I suspect everything is going to turn down here all at once, and people are talking about various catalysts. So there's dozens, if not hundreds, of potential catalysts. We could have some sort of dollar crisis. We could have a crisis in Europe. We could have a crisis in Japan or China. Trump can start a global trade war quite easily. Any of those things could do it, but also my favorite is nothing at all. The sentiment can change at any time for any reason. There does not necessarily have to be a catalyst other than just pure exhaustion and of a speculative trend. Everyone that's in is in and all in the stock market, in terms of buying houses, in terms of buying Bitcoin, in terms of anything. Sentiment doesn't need a catalyst. Maybe there'll be one. Trade is a likely one on my radar right now, but it can just be nothing at all other than pure exhaustion.
Mish, you're in a border state. Is there concern there that Trump will cancel NAFTA?
A border state?
Well, if you're near Canada, you're considered a border state, I guess.
Okay, well, Illinois, I don't know, it doesn't touch either Canada or Mexico, the last I looked. But we are in a state that's actually heavily dependent on Mexico in a number of ways. First off, Illinois is a very large corn producer. The land here in Illinois and the amount of rainfall we got, the conditions here are ideal. The soil is fantastic. Illinois makes grows a lot of grain. A lot of that ends up in Mexico. We also depend on migrant workers around harvest time to help with the corn. So those are the forces in play. And if Trump cancels NAFTA, it is highly likely that Mexico is going to decide, you know what, I'm going to get my corn or my soybeans from Brazil instead. So there's your connection to Mexico, and it's a strong one in that sense. All of the strong agricultural states are not looking forward to the cancellation of NAFTA. And so are states that produce autos, like Michigan, which does border Canada. The GM, Ford, do not want NAFTA to be canceled. So it's tough to find anyone who will tell you that canceling NAFTA is a good idea, other than people who believe, wrongly, that tariffs are going to increase production in the United States. It's not. It won't.
We'll have more with Mike Shedlock right after the break.
Glance Technologies owns and operates Glance Pay, a disruptive mobile payment technology now live in 16 cities in Canada and about to launch in the U.S. With revenues up 664% in the last quarter, Glance Technologies has the potential to be a worldwide leader in an industry projected to grow to $1.3 trillion in 3 years. Glance Technologies stock symbols are GLNFF in the U.S. and GET in Canada. Find out more at glancepay.com.
Hi, I'm Douglas Mason, President and CEO of Magnum Gold Corp. Inc., MGI on the TSX Venture Exchange. A 2015 drill program on the LH property intersected high-grade gold, including 16.9 meters of 13.58 grams and 11 meters of 20.66 grams per ton gold. A follow-up drill program is planned to further evaluate previously identified subsurface high-grade gold mineralization. Please visit our website at magnumgoldcorp.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Mike Shedlock. Mish, what's your thoughts on Amazon's fully automated grocery store?
I like the concept. I don't think it's applicable to large grocery stores. There's just too many bulk goods, unless we do away with bulk goods. You go buy a bunch of carrots, they need to be weighed. You go buy apples, they need to be weighed. You buy any fresh fruits or vegetables, they need to be weighed. One of the problems in the tests that Amazon did, which is the reason why they delayed opening up these stores, was they had, fortunately they tested this, they had a bunch of little kids run around who picked stuff off of shelves and put stuff back in the wrong place. It drove the system batty. Now think about a large store where customers use the restroom facilities. So they're going to go in there, they're going to attract the people through there with what? With cameras? I think not. So there's some issues, and maybe some of these issues will be solved. But let's forget about the grocery store concept. I think it works on a small basis, a 7-Eleven kind of stuff. Once again, provided everything is packaged, where you just can't go in and buy an apple, or maybe you can't even get an apple as long as it's a price per apple, as opposed to a price per weight of something. Now think about something like Best Buy, which doesn't sell fresh fruits or vegetables, which you go in there, you pick up a box of something. It might hold a computer or a monitor or, any kind of electronic goods. It's in a package that has an RFID chip in it. You can take that basket, go through the checkout, and one swipe through with the whole cart. Everything in there gets registered. And if the chip is inside the box, the RFID chip is inside the box, it's not going to be able to open that and get that chip out of there. So it's going to scan. You don't run the risk of someone changing a barcode by pasting a different barcode on top of the box. So I think that technology is coming. It's going to work. Department stores actually are a better use, but Amazon is the leader in these things, and it started with grocery stores. All in all, there's going to be a trend towards more of these kinds of things, and I think it's going to be more with RFID chips, electronic chips of some kind, rather than barcodes. But it's hard to put that RFID chip inside a carrot or an apple. So there you go. But so it's coming, and I like the idea, and it actually should lower prices because it gets rid of workers.
And is this really necessary as well? Because we keep talking there's a possible labor shortage. There's so many fewer young people who would do jobs like that.
Do jobs like what here? I mean, we're eliminating jobs here,
right,
with this proposal. Yeah, they talk about how hard it is to find people, but they're talking about how hard it is to get skilled people. When manufacturers complain they can't find anybody to do the work, it's because they can't find anybody with enough skills. So this is going to put increasing pressure on people with no skills. What are they exactly going to do? How are we going to pay them? What kind of welfare benefits? What's going to happen with food stamps? And in a sense, the same thing plays out again with autonomous cars and trucks. I'm a firm believer that autonomous trucks are going to eliminate millions of jobs in the 2022-2024 time frame. So you're going to have a whole bunch of truck drivers actually with a very good skill right now. They know how to drive a truck, but that skill is suddenly going to become useless. So what are these kinds of people do? Now, productivity is going to soar because output is going to increase with fewer workers, the very definition of productivity. But it's very disruptive, and we have to wonder exactly what that's going to do with the labor market. Janet Yellen and various people at the Fed have been saying, well, we need a rise in productivity, we need a rise in productivity, we need a rise in productivity. My guess is when that rise in productivity comes, they're not going to like it because of what it's going to do. Pressure is going to put on unskilled people or people who had skills, but those skills are no longer needed.
Can you see governments imposing a tax on each robot that replaces a person?
Certainly Paul Krugman has proposed that. I think something like that might happen, certainly. I don't think it would happen under Republicans, but it certainly could happen under Democrats. And my guess is in the next presidential election, my guess is the Democrats are actually going to win. There's enough anger here at Trump. The odds of a recession or a trade war or an accident of some kind are high, and we'll see. But in the meantime, Trump will have appointed conservatives on the Supreme Court, and we're going to see things happen like major tests in labor, whether or not public unions have a right to collect dues from people who don't want to be in the public union. I think we're going to see some major changes in that area coming up this year with new rulings that's going to weaken the public unions. So when we see that, there will probably be a backlash against Trump, although that will be one of the few things he will have done that I actually agree with. But there's a backlash coming on a number of fronts. If the stock market falls, if Trump causes a trade war, if people are just simply, fed up with all of his tweets and everything, there's all kinds of catalysts out here, Jim, and all it takes is one of them, to hit for there to be major problems here in the stock market.
We'll have more with Mish right after this.
Hi, I'm Douglas Mason, President and CEO of Rainy Mountain Royalty Corp., RMO, on the TSX Venture Exchange. Rainy Mountain's Brunswick property is located in the Rideout Shear Zone in Ontario, with grab samples running as high as 32 grams per ton gold. A follow-up drill program to test numerous targets located by recent groundwork is planned for early 2018. Please visit our website at rmroyalty.com.
Keep informed. Receive our weekly recap of thought-provoking articles, podcasts, and radio delivered to your inbox for free. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage, HowStreet.com. Welcome back. We're speaking with Mike Shedlock. Mish, your feelings on cryptocurrencies? We've seen a massive dive. Is it going to pull back up again and at the same rate?
I think the peak in cryptos is either here or likely here, but it depends on the cryptocurrency. Bitcoin can actually crash and the rest of them hold stable, or vice versa. But with grandma wanting to get in on Bitcoin, and with the advent of futures imposing, some external risks, making it easier for hedge funds to short the cryptos, I think there's a lot of pressure here, and certainly people who got in early. They saw a rise from $100 or whatever all the way to $20,000. Well, now it's $10,000. What if it falls back to that's a 50% decline for them from where they could have got out. It falls back to 5,000. That's another 50% decline. If it falls back to 1,000, they got in 100. It's $100. It's now 1,000. They still have 10 times the money, but they lost 95% of their gains that they had and could have taken. So any kind of sustained downtrend here in the price of Bitcoin is going to cause more and more selling, even amongst the people that are supposedly holders, H-O-L, they invent these crazy terms for holding Bitcoin. The holding, H-O-D-L-I-N-G, so there's a lot of price pressures coming up. I think the top is in, but Jim, technically, this thing can go still to 100,000. Everyone is guessing on this. People claim they know. I claim I don't know. I don't know. They don't know. No one can possibly know. But as a measure of sentiment, it seems more likely that sentiment has peaked than it hasn't.
Mish, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Pleasure to be on the show, Jim.
My guest has been Mish Shedlock, editor of Mish's Global Economic Trend Analysis on maven.net/Mishtalk. Questions for the show can be sent to info@howstreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.